Hello, my name is Michael Meehan, and I'll be doing my 4 questions. So, for the first question of today, I have why do relationship conflicts, as opposed to task or process conflicts, potentially lead to the most dysfunctional and harmful outcomes? Explain your answer. So, relationship conflicts, as opposed to task or process conflicts, have the potential to lead to most dysfunctional and harmful outcomes due to several reasons. Those being emotional investment, impact on communication, erosion of trust, long lasting effects, negative organizational impact. So, for impact on communication, relationship conflicts often result in poor communication patterns characterized by defensiveness, hostility, and avoidance. Individuals may become more focused on defending their position or attacking the other person rather than engaging in constructive dialogue. This breakdown communication inhibits problem solving and prevents the exchange of ideas necessary for a resolution. Erosion of trust. Relationship conflicts can erode trust between individuals involved. When conflicts are perceived as personal attacks, it can lead to feelings of betrayal or resentment, which undermines the foundation of trust necessary for effective collaboration. Without trust, communication breaks down, making it difficult to work through differences and find mutually acceptable solutions. Emotional investment. Relationship conflicts often involve personal feelings, emotions, and perceptions. When individuals feel attacked or criticized on a personal level, they may become defensive, uh, leading to escalation of the conflict. This emotional investment can make it harder for the individual to separate their personal feelings from the issues at hand, making resolution more challenging. Long lasting effects. Relationship conflicts can have long lasting effects beyond the immediate issue at hand. Unresolved conflicts can create lingering tension and animosity between individuals, affecting their ability to work together in the future, not only in this instance. Lingering resentment can also spill over into other areas of life, impacting overall well being and satisfaction of life outside of work. So, negative organizational impact. Relationship conflicts not only affect the individuals involved, but also have broader implications for the organizations. Dysfunctional relationship can disrupt teamwork, decrease morale, and hinder productivity. Additionally, unresolved conflicts may escalate and spread to other team members or departments, creating a toxic work environment that undermines organizational culture and effectiveness. Overall, relationship conflicts have the potential to be most harmful and dysfunctional because they involve personal emotions and perceptions, erode trust, disrupt communication, have long lasting effects, and negatively impact the organization as a whole. It's essential for individuals and organizations to address relationship conflicts promptly and constructively to minimize their detrimental effects. They're also just going to keep on going. So for question 2, I have, of the 5 conflict management strategies, which do you believe are most likely to occur in a conflict between two unequal parties? A manager and an employee, a board of directors and its CEO, or a large company and a smaller supplier? Which do you believe are most likely to occur in a conflict between two equal parties, similarly sized companies, team members, or department heads? Explain your reasoning. So the 5 conflict management strategies typically referred to are compromising, collaborating, competing, avoiding, accommodating. So, for collaborating, this strategy involves working with other parties to find a solution that satisfies both parties. It's both assertive and cooperative. Compromising, this strategy involves finding a middle ground where both parties give up something to reach an agreement. It's moderate in both assertiveness and cooperativeness. Competing, this strategy involves pursuing one's own concerns at the expense of other parties. It's assertive and uncooperative. Avoiding, this strategy involves ignoring or sidestepping the conflict altogether. It's neither assertive nor cooperative. And accommodating, this strategy involves giving into the other party's concerns while neglecting one's own. It's cooperative but unassertive. So we'll talk about which strategies are more likely to occur in conflicts between unequal parties and those between equal parties. Conflict between unequal parties. Uh, Competing. This strategy is more likely to occur when there's a significant power differential between the parties. For example, a manager might assert their authority over an employee, or a larger company might impose its terms on a smaller supplier. And accommodating, the weaker party in the conflict might choose this strategy to avoid further repercussions or to maintain a working relationship. For instance, an employee might accommodate the demands of their manager to keep their job secure. Conflicts between equal parties, collaborating. When both parties have relatively equal power and are invested in finding the best solution, collaborating becomes a viable strategy. They can work together to address the concerns and come up with mutual beneficial outcomes to help both of them. And then compromising. In conflicts where neither party holds a significant advantage, compromising allows both parties to make concessions and reach a middle ground. This can help maintain a harmony and facilitate ongoing collaborations. However, it's important to note that the choice of strategy can vary depending on the specific circumstances of the conflict, the personalities that are involved in it, and the organizational culture. Additionally, conflicts can involve a mix of strategies over time as the situation evolves and parties attempt different approaches to reach a resolution. So, for my third question, I have consider a time that you manage conflict through avoidance. What did you actually avoid by putting off and waiting to deal with the conflict? Did avoidance make the conflict situation better? Why or why not? What types of conflict situations are best addressed through avoidance? Explain your answer. Avoidance as a conflict management strategy involves postponing or sidestepping addressing the conflict directly. This approach may seem convenient in short term, but it often allows underlying issues to fester and can potentially exacerbate the situation in the long run. So you want to look at the big picture instead of just trying to fix what's happening right then and there. In terms of what avoidance actually avoids, it typically involves evading uncomfortable conversations, confronting difficult emotions, facing potential negative consequences, and by putting off dealing with the conflict, individuals might avoid immediate discomfort or confrontation, but they also delay the opportunity to resolve the underlying issues. Whether avoidance makes the conflict situation better or worse depends on various factors. So, complexity of the conflict. If the conflict is relatively minor or trivial, avoidance might be an acceptable short-term strategy. However, for more significant or deep-rooted conflicts, avoidance tends to exacerbate the situation by allowing the underlying issues to persist and intensify. Short-term versus long-term perspective, avoidance might offer temporary relief from the tension or discomfort, like we were talking about, but it also leads to escalation or resentment over time of the unresolved issues continuing to affect the relationship or situation negatively. Personal and cultural factors. Some individuals or cultures may have a preference for avoiding conflict to maintain harmony or safe face. While this approach may seem beneficial in the short term, it can hinder open communication and hinder the growth of relationships or the organization as a whole. Power dynamics. In situations where there is a significant power imbalance of fear or reprisal, avoidance might be a coping mechanism for individuals who feel unable to address the conflict directly, straight on. However, this can also perpetuate the imbalance and prevent meaningful resolution. You never come to a end resolution. In general, conflict situations that involve minor disagreements, low stakes, or temporary issues may be more suitable for avoidance as a short-term strategy. However, for conflicts that involve significant emotional investment, fundamental differences in values or goals, or potential long-term consequences, avoidance is unlikely to lead to a satisfactory resolution and may actually exacerbate the situation. Ultimately, while avoidance may offer temporary relief from discomfort, it often prolongs the conflict and prevents meaningful resolution. Effective conflict management typically involves addressing issues directly, engaging in open communication, and seeking mutually agreeable solutions. So everybody's on the same page. For the fourth question, I have discussed the integrative bargaining strategies used in the case negotiation discussed in the previous section. Which of the four strategies separate the people from the problem, focus on interests, not positions, generate a variety of possibilities, insist on some fair standards were used? Which of the four strategies were used? To discuss the integrated bargaining strategies used in a negotiation case, it's essential to understand each of the four strategies and then analyze how they will be applied. So for the 4 strategies, separate the people from the problem, focus on interests, not positions, generate a variety of possibilities, and insist on some fair standard. So separate the people from the problem. This strategy involves detaching personal emotions and relationships from the negotiation process and focusing solely on the issues at hand. So by separating individuals from the problem, negotiators can maintain objectively and prevent conflicts from becoming personal. This strategy fosters an environment where both parties can collaborate effectively. It doesn't just lean one way. Focus on interests, not positions. Instead of concentrating on fixed demands or positions, this strategy emphasizes understanding the underlying interests and needs of each party. By uncovering common interests, negotiators can identify mutually beneficial solutions that address the concerns of all involved. This approach encourages creativity and flexibility in finding solutions. Generate a variety of possibilities. Rather than settling from a single solution, this strategy encourages brainstorming and exploring multiple options. By generating a range of possibilities, negotiators increase the likelihood of finding creative solutions that meet the interest of both parties. They're not just going to find one that's leaning one way, they want one that's going to meet both the interests of both parties. So this strategy requires openness to new ideas and a willingness to explore alternative outcomes. Insist on some fair standard. This strategy involves appealing to objective criteria or standards to determine what constitutes as a fair outcome. By referencing external benchmarks or standards of fairness, negotiators can establish a basis for evaluating proposed solutions and ensuring equitable outcomes. This approach promotes transparency and fairness in the negotiation process. In the negotiation case discussed in the previous section, it's important to analyze how the strategies were applied. By examining the negotiation process through the lens of these integrated bargaining strategies, it becomes possible to assess how effectively the parties collaborated to achieve a mutually beneficial outcome. So this is how they get this is you gotta figure out how they can come to a middle ground and become to an outcome where both parties benefit mutually from it. It's not just leaning one way. And that goes back to generating a variety of possibilities, because you have to both agree on where it's going and understand that both sides have to benefit off of it. It can't lean one way. So it has to also, as we were saying before, be fair and insist on the fair standard. So negotiators can just keep going until they reach a middle ground and establish a basis for themselves, and that's how they come to their outcome. So these are my 4 questions for the night for my lesson 11 video reflection. I hope you guys enjoyed them and agree, and I will be commenting on 2 people's posts as I upload this video. Thank you guys. Hope you have a wonderful night.